Thousands of people in the western United States are spending the weekend in evacuation centres as wildfires continue to burn across the region. More than 80 large fires in 13 states have destroyed around 1.3 million acres in recent weeks. Our North America correspondent Peter Bowes has this report.
The Dixie wildfire, California's biggest blaze to the north of the state, is growing rapidly. Firefighters are battling day and night to try to bring it under control, but it's spreading with such ferocity that it's making its own weather, creating huge clouds that are generating lightning strikes across the region. About a fifth of the fire's perimeter has been contained, but officials say the extreme nature of the fire, along with low humidity, is hampering efforts to quell the flames. People have been evacuated from their homes in several nearby counties. Smoke from the fire is travelling far and wide and is even reaching the neighbouring state of Oregon, where it's helping firefighters put out the country's largest blaze, known as the Bootleg Fire, south of Portland. A layer of smoke is blocking sunlight and creating cooler conditions, making it easier for firefighters to gain ground on the blaze. But the phenomenon, known as smoke shading, is unpredictable, and there are fears that high temperatures and wind gusts later in the weekend could fan the flames further. Efforts to bring this fire under control have been further complicated by an outbreak of COVID-19 among firefighters. Those who've tested positive are isolating and are said to be exhibiting mild symptoms. With a long, hot summer still ahead, these fires will challenge much of the western United States for many weeks to come. Peter Bowes, BBC News, Los Angeles.
A little earlier, Stephen Myers, who is with the Bootleg Fire Information Team for the Oregon State Fire Marshal, gave us an update from Lakeview, Oregon.
Yeah, so we now stand at 4,001 acres, or 401,000 acres. We're at 42% containment. Weather has been somewhat favorable the last couple days to make great progress, but it is heating up this weekend, and we do have concerns for nearby communities. We have 2,200 firefighters that are assigned to this, and all of them are staying vigilant as this has still been a really dry summer. We had drought conditions in this part of the state, so we still have a lot of dry fuels out there, and we still remain concerned. Yeah, so we did have 9 firefighters that tested positive. They are exhibiting mild symptoms and they were isolated from camp. Others that came in contact were tested and luckily came out negative. So at this time, we're feeling confident that we've got a handle on this.
The combined effects of Typhoon NFA and an area of high pressure in the Pacific have already generated intense rain that caused last week's deadly floods in Henan, which affected more than 11.4 million people. All flights to and from major cities including Shanghai, Hangzhou and Ningbo were suspended, as well as some train services. Shanghai has also suspended all high-speed train services until noon on Monday. Meanwhile, Zhejiang province raised a red alert for flooding for close to 30 cities and counties, according to the provincial government's Weibo account. Ahead of the typhoon's arrival, social media users in Zhejiang posted photos and videos
to save the remains of their cellar. After heavy rainfall, the Aar River had turned into a raging torrent and devastated everything in its path.
In fall we have rainy periods or melting snow that sometimes cause flash floods. They tend to disappear just as quickly as they come, but what's happened now is just incomprehensible.
banks all pitch in. The fire department, police, or technical relief have not yet showed up. Almost everything that came into contact with the water has to be thrown away.
The furniture, our drinks, everything down in the cellar was thrown in every direction.
Just like here.
The water came all the way up to here. As you can see, this is all useless now.
The sludge reached every last corner.
I just had a look in the cupboard. What a mess. I normally try to be quite tidy, and now everything is completely underwater.
He hopes for government support. The insurance company has already informed him that it will not cover the damage. Too expensive. Meanwhile, the livelihood of thousands of people like Klaus Mies is at stake. The flood has swept away entire homes. Walpotsheim and neighboring villages resemble fields of rubble. No one knows how long reconstruction will last. On the night of the disaster, Klaus Mies was mostly concerned for his 5 children. When the flood broke into the house, he had to carry his handicapped child to the upper floor within just a few minutes.
I came down, heard a roaring sound here in the courtyard, and then I saw the water shooting up from the rain inlet at the back. The whole rainwater system was full.
Now, Klaus's family is safe. His office, however, is in shambles. There won't be any electricity or running water for at least a few weeks.
I'll have to talk to my customers and tell them why our work has to wait for the time being. All the computers are out of order.
At least the grill is still working. A few frozen sausages were rescued from the cellar. The people of Walpotsheim are doing what they can to stay upbeat.
Earthquake magnitude 7 in Panama shakes Costa Rica and Central America. Alarm in the west and center of Panama for a magnitude 7 earthquake. The earthquake caused a lot of fear in the population of this western Panamanian region on the border with Costa Rica. An earthquake of magnitude 7 on the open Richter scale, with its epicenter in the Pacific Ocean, shook Panama this Wednesday, causing alarm in populations in the west and center of the country, but without reports of injuries or considerable damage. The earthquake was recorded at 4:15 p.m. local time, 9:15 p.m. GMT, with its epicenter in a sector of the Pacific at a depth of 11 kilometers, reported the Institute of Geosciences of the University, IGC of Panama in a revised official report. The IGC noted in its Twitter account that after registering this seismic event, no tsunami alert has been issued for Panama. The possible aftershocks generated by this seismic event will be monitored. For its part, the United States Geological Survey registered the earthquake with magnitude 6.7 with an epicenter 68 kilometers south of Punta Barraca on the Pacific coast of Panama and with a depth of 19 kilometers. The director of the National Civil Protection Service, CINEPROC in the province of Chiriquí, Armando Palacio, affirmed that the earthquake caused a lot of fear in the population of this region of western Panama bordering Costa Rica. The movement was very strong. It was felt throughout the province, in the area of the Comarca, in sectors of Veraguas, and in part of the central provinces Panamanian, said Palacio, adding that slight effects were reported to the structures of 2 provincial hospitals. Last Saturday, an earthquake of magnitude 6.1 on the Richter scale was also reported 130 kilometers south of Punta Barraca, on the Pacific coast of Panama, although it did not cause as much alarm as the one on Wednesday, which also shook strongly to Costa Rica. The Costa Rican National Seismological Network, RSN, reported that the earthquake had a magnitude of 7 on the Richter scale, with an epicenter in Panamanian Pacific waters, 113 kilometers south of the Costa Rican town of Punta Barraca, and originated 10 kilometers from depth. Due to the earthquake, which occurred at 15:15 Costa Rican time, 21:15 GMT, the National Emergency Commission, CNE, reported that it has reports of falling objects in towns on the southern Pacific coast and the Costa Rican Caribbean, bordering Panama, such as Golfito and Laurel, province of Puntarenas, as well as in communities of the province of Limon, Caribbean, and Alajua, Enter.